Hello, and welcome to the Pearls of Wisdom podcast, where we explore a music professional's perspective on the intersection between psychology, spirituality, creativity, and philosophy, as well as the nature of transformation. Today, my guest is Drea.
Hello.
You are a producer, songwriter, and artist.
Yes.
Triple threat.
Triple threat, jack of all trades,
Jack of all
master of none.
Jack of all trades. Honestly,
Kind of vibe.
the best way to be, honestly, I think. Multiple things.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
exploring like different things in music.
Yeah.
Whole creativity in general. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You killed that intro, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I guess, okay, so my experience of you, full disclosure, we are writing an EP together. Drea's producing for me. And it was literally such a beautiful experience. The first time we ever wrote together, which wasn't on my project.
Yeah.
To write with a producer who was one female and also an artist yourself. Like, I feel like that perspective is so different. Also being a singer as well, because you sing and you perform. So I feel like you have a different perspective when it comes to producing. Do you feel like that? Like, do you feel like that artist, like, informs how you produce?
I think that definitely helps the dynamic of, like, a session.
Yeah.
You know, I think I treat sessions differently. Maybe, I'm not going to say the word compared, but, like, I treat sessions differently, a little, like, less typically than other producers because I have that lens and I know what it's like to care about your art, you know, and so I try to be very sensitive to that too, and give the artist a voice and try to just be of service to that. So that's my philosophy behind working with an artist. So it makes me happy that you feel that way.
I really do. And it has been my experience with other sessions that I'm like, I don't feel like my voice is being heard sometimes.
I know that feeling, you know, as an artist, which is kind of why, to be honest, I started producing.
Really?
Because I know what it's like, because naturally I'm just a reserved person. Like, doing this whole thing is like a skill that I had to develop over time and just to get out of my head, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
But the whole reason, a part of the bigger reason why I went into producing is because there are no female producers, number one. And I just know what it felt like to be unheard in environments like that.
As a producer,
Yeah.
in sessions that you've been in with other people, maybe when you're the artist or whatever, does it feel like there's maybe like some ego involved in it?
Yes.
Or, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think at the end of the day, it's the artist's work. And my job and my role in the room is just to be of service to that. I think inevitably artists evolve, and my job is to be of service to where you currently are. And to make everyone feel comfortable in the room to voice their ideas, good or bad. Because I think it's important to dig through the bad shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get to the good stuff.
Yes.
And not everyone feels comfortable, you know, voicing those ideas if the environment doesn't feel safe.
Yes.
So that was my purpose in transitioning into being a producer. Yeah.
That's like a huge need, I feel like, because I feel like when you're writing songs too, it can be very vulnerable, maybe not even just with like what you're talking about, but being able to show like an imperfect idea or like a bad idea or maybe like not the final version of something, and how integral that is to the writing process. Like, you have to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to if you don't feel safe or you don't feel heard.
Yeah.
So
1000%.
It's super important.
Yeah. And I think just, you know, being a woman, being queer, I tend to connect more with other females and the queer people, and um, it's I think everyone is able to deliver their best creative output when everyone feels safe enough to do that. Yeah.
So when did you start to produce or like transition to producing? And then when did you start to like, did you start with yourself and then you started to produce for others, or how was that? How did that all happen?
Yeah, well, I'm an artist, but I was solely focused on my artist project for this first 6 years of being in LA, doing nothing but playing out, I was street performing and doing the whole thing. And I was working with a producer at the time. He was producing most of my stuff. And when COVID hit, I just started diving more into production. I had always done it. I was working in Ableton when I was like 13.
Okay.
Over the years, working as an artist and a session vocalist, I've had the privilege of just watching producers do their thing. And I thought, I could probably do this.
Yeah.
And during COVID, I really just dug into it. And I started producing my own music, and other artists started reaching out and asking if I could produce for their stuff. And then it just evolved into me working on other artist projects. And that was in 2020. And then it was like in 2022, I started entering camps as a producer. So I started entering like formal like sessions as a producer. And I think that really changed the game and helped me grow. I think it expedited my growth a lot as a producer. So that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you were starting to produce in 2020, you had like, how much knowledge did you have before then?
Before then, as I was focusing on my artist project, I was doing a lot of EDM work as a session vocalist. And I was working with a lot of writers, and I learned how to vocal produce because they're so meticulous with the way that they track vocals. And so learning production from the producer I worked with, and then like working on vocals with DJs is like in two different worlds where I was like learning different skill sets, which is really cool. And I think helped me in the long run with like as a producer.
Yeah.
But I learned how to record when I was 13. I was doing projects with friends, and I made my friends like record and sing on stuff, and I would just like upload it to MySpace back in the day when MySpace was a thing.
Love.
But but I would just take loops and just like track guitar, and I mean it was all trash. It was like very bad.
Right.
It was not good. And then in high school I had a band, and we were recording our own stuff. And writing our own stuff, which was really fun. I played bass. My ex-girlfriend was the lead singer. And we would write and play out a lot and recorded our own stuff at home on my Toneport UX2, on Ableton Live 4, when Ableton was at number 4.
Yeah.
Now we're at like 12, I think. And then I was always diddled out. I never thought I would be a producer. Like I never came to LA thinking that I was gonna end up doing this, let alone thinking that writing, like songwriter, you can have a career as a songwriter or a producer. Like everyone else, I think I moved to LA to be an artist, and then just over time continuing to work with different people and seeing how they work, how they write, and watching them do their thing, and how they craft songs. I felt inspired to do the same as a producer.
Yeah. It's so interesting how like you get to where you're at and then you look back and you're like, like all that kind of like came together in ways I wasn't expecting. Like the fact that you were playing around when you're like 13 and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you never know. I feel like that's the same story that I hear, like from people
Yeah.
that have been here for a while.
Yeah.
They end up doing things that they wouldn't have expected. Um, and I think I just also am entering a phase in my life where, not a phase, but I'm evolving into a place in my life where I think I've done enough as an artist. I'm at a point where I'm like now helping other artists, younger artists, execute their projects, which is really fun. Um, while still honing like my craft that serves my artist project too, which is really fun. But I mean, it's the same story. Like you never know how things are gonna end up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I know that I feel like the the truth to be extracted from that is like you think that you want to go a specific place and do a specific thing, but really you have no idea where you're going.
Yeah.
And what you were doing, how you were like describing like early music stuff, like it sounds like you were just having fun. Like
Yeah.
you were in a band, you were playing bass, you're messing around, like you weren't thinking I got to make this good, I got to be big, I have to do this. There
Yeah.
was none of that direction.
No.
And yet that's what you do now. You
Yeah.
know? It's just so following the fun really was the thing that led you here, not following a goal, you know?
1,000%. I feel like that's everyone, right? Everyone here, everyone that have creative aspirations, who want a creative career. It all starts from having fun and doing the things that you love to do when you're a kid
Yeah.
with your friends.
Yeah.
Just being like like in the summers, I used to hang out with my friends all night and like write songs. They were trash, but
Yeah.
we were we were having fun, right? Writing shit songs.
Yeah.
And I'm still having fun writing shit songs.
Right.
I'm like, wow, look what we made today. Except for the one that we wrote like a few days ago. That was
That
like
one wasn't shit.
fire. That one was a shit. I was listening to that song to be honest, like on repeat
Wait,
on the
yay.
commute. And I honestly, like that day, I was like, I don't know, it's Monday. I'm like
Right.
kind of not feeling it. I'm like really tired, but
Mhm.
like we made, you see, you never know. That's
You
what keeps
never
it
know.
fun. It keeps you on your feet.
Yeah.
Right. And I just like left so inspired.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. You
yay.
fill my cup. I think
Ah,
you should know that. Yeah,
wait.
every time we have a conversation or like even your content, it's very
Mm.
wholesome and yeah, and every time we work together, it's always a good time.
Wait, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I need to voice that because I just left from a terrible session. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. So, what makes a session life giving and what makes a session draining for you?
what I noticed about sessions that are soul sucking to me, to be quite honest, are the ones for monetary gain.
Mm.
And to be quite honest, like it was it's great to have those opportunities. I never thought like 6 to 10 years ago, being where I'm at and like being able to be in these rooms with people, it would it wouldn't be as fun, and I'm so grateful every day
Sure.
for the opportunities I am. But I think when we're I just noticed that when we're in sessions, like either to make money or when personalities don't quite align, to me, I always leave with an empty cup.
Yeah. I think that's important to articulate and to say because I don't know, I have this maybe this is me being naive
Mm,
or maybe it's me being like radically optimistic in a way that isn't congruent with how the world is.
yeah.
But I want to say that if all of our goals and our aims were more like us as kids to have like that childlike fun and to follow the fun, to follow the meaning, because meaning is really adult fun. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Fulfillment, purpose, like enjoying what we like to do. Not that it's just like sugar and candy and it's just all pleasure and fun.
Right.
There are like parts of it that you don't like
Yeah.
and meticulous
The
things, like
discipline.
the discipline part of it. Like there's an adult version of it, but I guess I have this vision in my head that it's like, at least for my own life, when I follow that, one, that's what's going to make me create sustainability in whatever I'm pursuing. And I think that the money will come. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It's a tight rope to walk on. I'm learning that because what I'm noticing is the best work comes from the fun.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also a discipline and labor to taking projects to the finish line,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in which our mature selves come out of, where it's like, okay, we have to finish this thing and it's a lot of work and it's going to take, some discipline and, that part is hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the creative process in doing this whole thing is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
I think that's when the best work comes out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you ever walk into a session and be hey guys, let's write a song and then just clock out,
Right.
I mean, we do that, for, our reasons, but like,
Yeah.
you have to have a creative spirit.
I agree.
Yeah.
To me, I'm just like, that attitude belongs in corporate. If you're gonna
Yeah.
clock in and clock out, just have a 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're doing it for the money, I get it.
Right.
Then do something that's congruent with that kind of an attitude.
Yep.
Because creativity and artistry and like music and things like that, I feel like it demands something else. You know, like the nature of it is like you need to have like, I don't know, you have to have something to say. You need to be introspective in some way,
Yeah, you
not
have to
just saying the
open
same
up.
shit, not just parroting someone else. Like,
Yeah.
artistry, I feel like, and like good music, legendary music, like that's what it does. You know what I'm saying?
The radicalism behind the timeless music that still carries on today
Mm-hmm.
all comes from that very place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, I get it. Like I get you
Totally.
have to get your bag,
Yeah.
and it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I've had friends who like were homeless, trying to do this thing.
Yeah.
It's fucking hard. I think, you know, as we progress though, um again, like you said, having a childlike spirit going into all of this creates sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
I 1,000% agree with that. Because I can see how, because I know people who do music strictly for the money, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like you can find money anywhere.
Anywhere.
You can find money anywhere. You might as well go do it somewhere where it's, because the music industry is hard.
Yeah.
Entertainment industry is hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. So you might as well
Why pick it
go
if you're
into
not gonna
corporate.
have fun or love it?
Yeah. Because I could tell you, I've been in that place where I'm like, oh man, that corporate life, it looks kind of nice.
Literally.
Clock in at 9,
Check
clock out
out.
at 5, going home to the family.
There are perks.
And there are perks. Like I get it, It's a hard journey.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. I 1,000% agree. If like to keep you loving it,
Mm-hmm.
to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
there needs to be balance,
Mm-hmm.
between having the fun and then also completing things and finishing things.
Yeah.
You know?
I also feel like, I don't know, some people that I talk to who are in music and who have like a job that's supporting that music, like there's so much pressure, I feel like, to be full time, for people. And like if I compared the two things, it's like, what's better? Like diversifying, you could frame it however you want. Like I'm diversifying my skills. I'm gaining, knowledge in this area. I'm like able to fund this so that I can go into sessions and like lead with enjoyment and love and fun.
Yeah.
Instead of like, why is there shame around that? But there's no shame around making music just for money. Like, I feel like if you're gonna feel negative about something, it should be more like, I'm full time, but I just do it to like make a hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Right. Like, to be honest, I've had artists be like, "Oh, I'm thinking about quitting my corporate job. I'm so unhappy."
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, the stability is nice,
Yeah. Hmm.
And like you said, it depends how you frame it,
Hmm.
right? Like, I completely agree. I think, especially now, where with the music business climate,
Hmm.
right? Like, they're not just handing out development deals and
Right.
360s to artists for talent,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
You gotta do different things to make it work.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
no. I feel
it's true.
like, to me, I would rather follow the story of like a 45-year-old who just had their major breakthrough, who like slept in a car for 4 years or whatever,
Yeah,
than like a 21-year-old who was developed as an artist since they were 11 years old. I'm like, what are you going to say to me? Like, what
yeah,
songs, like it might be a bop, but like
right.
how many bops are there? Like hundreds and thousands of millions of like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
1,000, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
I was thinking
realness.
about that the other day. I was just scrolling on TikTok, and there's just so much music. I don't know if we talked about this the other day, but there's just so much music out there. And it's like the statistic for how many songs are released on Spotify is like, I don't know, like, we need to fact check that, but it's like 60,000 to 100,000 songs are released per day.
It's insane.
Isn't that gnarly?
That's
Like,
so crazy.
there's so much music out there. There's no sense of like quality control,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of got in my head, to be honest, a little bit. I'm like, does
Mm.
the world need more music?
Mm.
You know?
Mhm.
And the world's always going to need music, but I
Mhm.
think maybe it just depends how you look at it. I
Mm.
think there's something special about um being an artist and having your own voice and um saying what you need to say, right? Like, with everything that you're going through, like, your experience is very unique. And I'm working with another artist who is in a corporate job,
Mm.
who is using her corporate job salary to fund her projects,
Mhm. Mhm.
and um we're literally writing a song about her toxic boss,
Mm. Yeah.
just
Uh-huh.
like about her life and her lens.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it,
Yeah.
and it's just so much fun,
Yeah.
So I don't know, what was the question?
No, that's great.
That's good.
No, I was gonna say too, like with the does the world need more music? I feel
Yeah.
like that question is kind of almost the same question like, does the world need more people? Like,
Oh,
I guess maybe depending on what lens you're looking at it, no, but in the holistic experience of it, yes. Like, we definitely need more people and more perspectives. And if you happen to be musically gifted or musically talented and like chosen to do that, because every single person that I've ever talked to who's in music, who's still in music, and who's weathering the storms and the obstacles, it's typically a I was chosen kind of situation,
mhm.
Like, you choose it, but also it's like your path led you there, at the same
Right.
time. If that's the case, then it's almost like not only does the world need more music, but like you have to do it, in the unique way that you are going to, because
Yeah.
only you can reach the people who you're going to uniquely reach.
Right.
And every perspective is special and different.
Mm.
Um, but stats like that can definitely
Yeah.
be intimidating. But it
Yeah.
also can be cool. Like if you get on an editorial playlist and you know that there's like 60,000 to 100,000, however many it is, dropping, like that's a huge accomplishment. You know what I'm
It is a
saying?
huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
And the thing that I do love about that whole infrastructure is making the smaller artists heard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
there is no way back in the day with all these gatekeepers that a small artist would be able to easily release music to the world
Mm-hmm.
and have like random people hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a song where it was like my stepdad's niece like randomly DM'd me and was like, my friend and my classmate in college was like, I'm listening to this song on repeat and it ended up being your song.
Oh my
And, like, that's like
God.
so random.
That's so cute.
Isn't that crazy though, how it could reach the kind of reach
Right.
it has, right? Being
Yes.
able to just upload your music.
Mm-hmm.
That part is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're going through this weird learning curve with like the streaming
Mm-hmm.
industry and figuring all that out.
Yeah. Yeah. And a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff is getting taken down these days as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So that can be disheartening.
Yeah.
But at the same time though, I mean, I don't know. I feel personally like we look at the world, there's going to be like atrocious things, tragic things, horrifying things. Like there's always going to be something negative and bad
Right.
in the world in general. Like
Yeah.
if you look for it, you'll find it.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like that's like on a macro level. If we take it back down to like just like our individual lives, like it's true, like whatever you focus on grows, whatever
Right.
you water grows. So if it's like the negative side or like the things that aren't working, then that's what you're going to find. And that's what's going to like be in your mind. It's going to be discouraging. And it does slowly affect like how you move and the actions that you take.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about this all the time with how powerful the mind is and your consciousness and how the way you talk to yourself can completely honestly change the trajectory of everything.
Your whole
right?
life.
Your whole fucking life, your day, the next moment,
Uh-huh.
and your choices throughout the day
Uh-huh.
that lead to whatever's going to happen in the long run, right?
Yeah.
It's such a powerful thing.
Mm-hmm. So we've connected on being Dr. Daddy Joe friends.
Yes. Yes. Joe Dispenza.
Love Joe Dispenza.
Yes.
When did you were you like primed with like other kinds of like material like that and then you found Joe, or did you find like what was your journey?
Yeah.
What was your journey to Joe?
My journey to Zaddy Joe. Zaddy Joe came into my life when I was looking at came across the manifestation hole on TikTok.
Okay.
I was like in a rabbit hole.
Okay.
And that's how I found Joe Dispenza.
Mm.
But before that, I've always had my family's very religious, Catholic.
Okay.
My brother just converted to Greek Orthodox.
Okay.
So I have I come from a very religious background with family. And being a queer person being in a relationship that is not accepted in that space, I'm still exploring, my belief system and everything that I was conditioned to believe, and trying to develop my own perspective. So that's why I came across manifestations and people who believe in the universe outside of a religious perspective. Right. So that's how I came across Joe. But also my uncle, he is not a manifestation coach. He's like a life coach. You told me this. Yeah. I did tell you. Yeah. I have to tell this story.
Okay.
So he is huge on manifestation and the universe, and like I said, we come from a very religious background, and what I really admire about him, and he's also gay, what I admire about him is he's been able to integrate the two. He's never, because I feel like in that world of people who believe in the universe, they strictly don't believe in religion, and then vice versa, right? With him, he's been able to melt two worlds. And he is a life coach, but he also teaches a manifestation course. And basically, it's all about how to be in a state of gratitude. And it's more than that, obviously.
Sure.
But
it's the core.
Yeah, it's the core, and he's huge on that. So recently, keep in mind, my uncle, he's an occupational therapist.
Okay.
And he has his life coaching business.
Cool.
but he writes stories and he's also an artist. Like he paints and he's just very creative.
I'm in love with your uncle.
Huh?
I'm in love with your uncle.
I know.
He's so cool.
He's awesome. He paints. He's an occupational therapist and he has his life coaching business. He's in Baltimore. He has no association with LA in the industry.
Okay.
But he writes stories.
Okay.
And he pitched this story that he had to Lionsgate.
Okay.
And the Lionsgate wants to give him a lot of money for it.
Wait, what?
Isn't that crazy?
Wait,
like lots of money.
Was this something that he manifested? Like,
yes.
Was he like, I want my story to be...
Yes.
Was it as specific as Lionsgate? Or was it...
To be quite honest, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know that part. I don't know the details.
Who cares about the specificities?
Right.
You're getting paid, like, bank
for
your story?
And you're not even technically a writer or screenplay
You're just
writer.
some guy
in
Baltimore.
LA. Right. You're just, again, it comes from childlike play, going back to that, and genuinely enjoying what you love, right? That leads to these great things that can happen. I mean, you never know.
You never know where it might lead.
As long as it comes from a place of genuinely enjoying it, you know, I think people gravitate towards that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and like in the Zaddy Joe world too, like the people feel it just naturally, like energetically, like someone who is in like a dark place, like some of it's really, really obvious. Like I remember one time recently I was in a room with one person and it was like literally a black hole, like how dark it was, you know, it was like you're bringing it down notches, you know? And also the opposite is true though. Like one person can completely change the dynamic of a room with their like authentic, enthusiastic, positive, grateful energy.
Yeah.
You know? And like each individual person like holds that power to walk into the room and change the dynamic for good, you know?
Yeah.
And it's also like they like can like scan you now, right? And like know, like they can like see the auras off your body and stuff. Like it's a real thing. It's not just like oh, I like feel the vibes.
Right.
Like it's something.
I mean, that's what it is, but it, like people say that on a I think that's a very like superficial like level of saying that, but it's true. Energy is a crazy thing that can be felt by other people. I firmly believe that and firmly believe in, you know, like I said before, however you think of yourself and however you view the world is going to form how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What draws you to, like, what makes you respect your uncle integrating like the religion and the kind of more like universe spirituality, like why not choose probably not religious stuff because you feel like you're not accepted there, so obviously it's not going to be all that. Why want part of that, you know? Like what is it about that for you, do you think?
I think it's because maybe I think there's so much that goes against the religious community in which I felt, to me, I've been fortunate enough to never feel unaccepted in my personal experience with the Catholic Church. I played at church. I was heavily involved in youth group. My brother was a youth minister. We played music. And personally, I just never felt rejected.
Yeah.
But I know other people's experiences.
Sure.
And I understand that they're not open to, you know, the kind of relationship that I'm in. But it's just interesting. I think what draws me to that is like maybe I'm optimistic about the foundation that religious beliefs stand on. Does that make sense?
Say more.
Like, it's wrong. Of course, there's so much wrong
right
in that community.
We all know, like,
we all
the
know
weird stuff that just doesn't make
wrong,
sense and it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
But there are some things that do intertwine with what everybody believes in this other world of believing in the universe, right? It's kind of parallel. Like I'm seeing a lot of similarities. We're just choosing to name them differently. So I just appreciate my uncle's openness to that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate him just not completely abandoning the good that came from, you know, his experience in the church too.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I align with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that because there's something weird about cancel culture. Like, somebody did something wrong and then now they're completely wiped from the face of the planet and everyone's hating on them. That feels like weird tribal mentality. It feels immature. It feels like young and it feels unfair. Even if somebody messed up, there are certain people where it's like, no, you should go to prison and you should be canceled for sure.
Right.
But it's too much for certain people, like random comedians who made a joke 25 years ago when everyone's still learning or whatever.
Right.
And they wouldn't believe that at all.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of weird immaturity, albeit more complicated because there's like religious trauma and everything like that, can be people can sort of do that in the same way of just like, fuck all religion. Like it's all just like you're canceled, you know?
Yeah.
But a lot of people who grew up in the church, a lot of musicians get their start in the church. Almost everyone I know somehow got started in the church because there was that opportunity to just be kind of not the best at the time, you know, and just kind of fuck around playing bass or whatever, singing.
But also, I personally spiritually connected, you know, playing in the church.
Yeah.
Doing worship. You know, I've had an amazing experience in spiritual connection doing that, you know, and I don't know if it's because I am doing what I love in sacred space, you know, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's, you know, but I can't put my finger on it, but I've had a positive experience, you know, and a part of me does feel ashamed when I'm like, if I say that to my gay friends who, you know, don't believe in religion or the church, you know, I feel like there's different circles and, you know, where I feel like I have to be careful with what I say, you know, in those senses.
Yeah. And there's like a consideration and like just like you being compassionate.
Yeah,
and
I
then,
definitely I empathize so much.
Totally.
You know, I know people have been hurt.
Yes.
You know, from their experiences in the church.
Yeah.
You know, and I would never ever want to impose what I believe in on anyone, whether they're liberal or conservative.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's kind of more like follower sheep NPC mentality to think I'm either here or I'm here. Like I'm either progressive or I'm conservative. I'm either anti-religion or I'm anti-spirituality.
Where do you stand on that? I'm
On
curious.
spirituality and God and everything?
Yeah, because I know you have a background with religion. And
yes.
You went to Azusa, right? You went
Biola.
That's right.
Which is even crazier than Azusa. It's very like, no, we like signed a contract that like we wouldn't have sex with anybody. Like before marriage, like no drinking. I didn't take one sip of alcohol my entire college career.
Oh
like,
my God.
yeah, no, it was really intense. And I was like, I'll sign up for it.
Is it an all girls?
No, so it's boys and girls.
It's boys and girls?
Yeah.
Okay.
And secretly quieted, silenced non-binary people, I'm sure. Oh, sorry. Blessings to you.
So it's very conservative.
Yeah, super conservative.
Okay. Yeah. What's your view on it? Because you come across it, you're very liberal, very open.
Yeah. I mean, similar to you, like I've had some of the most beautiful spiritual experiences of my life in church. And I think Jesus saved my life in many ways. And I definitely would not be the person that I am today without that. And that structure was so helpful for me as a child.
Yes.
And like the way that it answered these like questions of like, why are we here? Like like I
think
felt so
learning
good.
how to look inward or learning how to be with yourself in prayer.
So good.
And music,
I'm literally getting
right?
chills thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
No, yes.
Yeah.
And prayer and meditation, basically the same thing.
Exactly.
God and the universe, it's the same thing.
Right.
Like the Holy Spirit and intuition, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's literally all the same thing. And even when you look at other religions or like Buddhism or Islam, it's really all the same with different words.
Yeah.
And I feel that is a recent like kind of full circle moment for me too. There's at the end of T.S. Eliot's Four Quartets, there's the beginning of it says, "We shall not cease from exploration, for at the end of all our exploring will be to arrive at the beginning and know the thing for the first time." And I don't know if that's what it actually means. But for me, what that means is like back to like the childhood thing, all of the things that like meant so much to me as a child, like they all kind of have a way of like coming back. So now I do use the word God. And I do also feel this weird pressure of being like, I love God. I mean the universe or like the space between all space or whatever you want to call it. Because I don't want to like, same thing, I don't want to make people feel like,
so funny.
Because I get it, because I was there too. I was like, no, like, you know, Christians hate people who are gay and they're like, you know, so conservative and they like vote for whatever voting, you know, like.
Right.
I'm not that.
See how toxic that is, how it bleeds into politics?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like none of this is integrated at all.
Right.
But the questions that religion tries to answer, those are still all longings of the human soul.
Yeah.
And it's structured in a certain way. And I think having that, having something to stand on that's kind of lasted a really long time, there's something to say about that.
Right.
You know?
Speaks volumes.
Like, if it's been here for thousands of years, yes, has it been like monetized? Is it like a business?
Diluted?
Are there weird things going on all the time? Yes. And that's across the board. That's human nature. Right. We're gonna fuck everything up.
Right.
Like, period. So, like,
we stay fucking shit up.
We do. We really do. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people, I know a lot of people want to almost like reclaim some of those terms and redefine it and redeem the beautiful things in those like religious traditions. You know?
Yeah, there is beauty. It's just all been is diluted the right term? It's all been
diluted as hell.
Yeah. But that's really like reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And I feel like as we get older too and seeing the world for what it is and having our own experiences, right? It's like I never would have thought that I would have leaned more I thought I'd be this crazy, like radical liberal.
Yes.
I mean, you look at it from the outside looking in, I'm like a creative and I'm gay and I'm all the things like that check the boxes. But like in my own experience and looking back, I have positive experiences too in the church.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you feel like you're on edge too. You're not too sure.
I don't feel super unapologetic about it just because I know what it was like to be in the space where I was in the process of rejecting it and finding something new.
Right.
And I know that group of people, they're going to be like, why are you saying God? Like, why are you coming at me with all this religious bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's important for those of us who are over here. We just had this connection right now. We're like, oh, we're the same. We do want to be somewhere in the middle. Like, if we're more unapologetic about that, we could find those people, and also maybe some of these people over here who are like fully rejecting it and are going to be turned off by it. Like, it could just get a conversation going. Because if you said, I believe in God, even if you were like, I believe in that Jesus is our Lord and Savior, even if you said something as like intense as that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because I know you, I wouldn't assume you hate gay people or that like you are
Right.
super like politically conservative
Yeah.
because I know you as a person.
But isn't that crazy? Like, if I were like a public figure and I voiced those things, it'd be canceled, right?
Right.
Again, going back to cancel culture and people canceling each other because of one thing, you know, when they don't see the overall picture or know its context is very toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a culture and a society, we're all learning how to use social media. We don't know how to use it yet. So we're doing weird things with it. We're just like all getting used to this new thing that we have.
Right.
So learning how to like have actual discourse and like, you know, have conversations about cancel culture. Like, we're evolving with it. So
Right.
and we're also fucking that up. Back to fucking things up. But
we're fucking that shit up too. I don't even know. Like, yeah, did you hear like at Coachella, I saw this TikTok where someone was saying, yeah, there's like less phones, more people are carrying like or carrying disposable cameras and like digital cameras.
Interesting.
Which is why it's like a lot cooler, I guess. I believe, like, I don't know. I feel like we're leading to a point where people are just gonna get sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, realness and longevity and authenticity, like that stuff is timeless, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's always going to be the pull of the human
Right.
soul.
Yeah.
Back to that. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to witness and
There's
see.
just a lot to dig through, you know, to find all of that. But it's there, you know, and I'm sure like start that conversation that you mentioned between these people over here and these people over here. I'm sure it already exists somewhere in the ether. You know, we just haven't found it yet. But that's like the beauty of being able to connect with literally everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you manifesting currently?
It's a secret.
Is it really?
Nah, it's not a secret.
You don't have to say it. It could be one of those private things.
No, I don't want it to be a private thing. I want to put it out in the universe. I am manifesting for my creative career to fuel my finances and just like my life. I'm manifesting having the ability to be selective with who I work with and working on more projects that I'm passionate about. Those are just some things that I have a whole list, girl. List for days.
Out of that list, is there like and maybe not, but so there's like a bunch of different like outcomes and things that you want. Is there like is there something that kind of guides it, like puts it all together? Do you know what I'm saying? Like
a common thread.
Freedom or
freedom for
something
sure.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, freedom for sure.
Freedom.
I well, you know, to be honest, like I am doing this full time. Like I'm so grateful. My goal is to just for it to scale and for it to continue to grow.
Yeah.
You know, right now I'm in a place where I feel like all my 20s I was struggling. I'm in a place where I'm like, I could go to Costco on a Tuesday in the middle of the day.
Right.
And I could buy lots of groceries.
Right. That's
you know,
abundance, baby.
And it's abundance, baby. And also just having my own creative space, you know, my studio and being able to work on projects that I am passionate about while also being able to support myself. Like I worked hard for that. To be honest, the other day I was feeling guilty. I was like telling my mom, I was like, you know, I feel kind of guilty that I'm at Costco on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. But also have to remind myself that I also did work hard.
Yeah.
And I did pay my dues to be able to do this.
Absolutely.
But yeah, my goal is to continue to just grow.
Yeah.
You know, I think, I don't know if you feel this way, but especially like as I enter my 30s, I'm now trying to realign with what's important to me. And reevaluate and reprioritize things, and making time for family and my relationships,
Right.
friends and loved ones, and then career and, well, God, family, career.
Yeah.
I think for the longest time it was different.
Yeah. Like a reordering of priorities, kind of.
Yeah, just figuring out, reevaluating what's important.
Yeah.
I mean, did you feel that way at some point? Or do you always
I've always been perfect. I've never stressed in my life. I don't know what you're talking about. So,
I mean,
yeah,
hey,
that's it.
yeah, that's it.
No, yeah, there was something about 30 that was like, I'm that bitch, honestly. Honestly, I'm that bitch, and no one can tell me different. Like,
I love that for
I've
you.
stood by myself. Like, I have, changed some horrible situations to be benefiting me now. Like,
Yeah.
you see enough of how things work out to be like, oh, I'm going through this right now. I don't know how it's gonna work out.
You're just gonna let it go.
It's gonna work
We're
out
gonna let it go.
Yeah. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be stronger, richer, finer. Like, I don't know, but it's gonna be better for real.
1,000%.
So I feel like that definitely was a part of it.
Like
Just
your
like,
transition.
yeah,
Yeah.
less doubt. Just like, yeah, it's fine.
Just let it fly.
Yeah. Not 100%, of course, but just way more of that standing
Yeah.
in that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
Yeah. Thank you. I was gonna say something about the I was gonna say, now that you are in a place where you can go to Costco on a Tuesday and get 15 bars of Dove soap if you wanted.
Yeah. Makeup wipes, all the vitamins,
Just stack it in.
Stack it.
Does it feel like you thought it was gonna feel when you were like dreaming of being where you are now?
Absolutely not. I mean, I didn't even know this was a dream. It was like one of those things, right? Like, you don't really know like what freedom is going to look like.
Sure.
To be honest, when I was thinking about this too the other day, when I was 20, I thought, ooh, like when I first moved to LA, I'm like, I'm going to be this superstar, And then dreams change.
Right, you pivot.
Yeah, and dreams evolve. Not that like to be honest, I'm in a place where like I don't even really grieve that. I think a lot of people like to, grieve what didn't happen, but to be honest, like, I'm enjoying life.
Right.
I get to go to my studio 3 minutes away from my place and create music with people that I love working with.
Yeah.
And come home to my dog and my fiance every night and have the freedom to freedom with time, like
Ugh, so huge.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
It took a long time to get here, but so with all of that, like I don't really grieve the things that didn't happen that I thought would happen when I was 21.
Yeah. It's
So
good to know that, like, for people maybe who are just starting off, it's either going to happen or something else will happen and you can choose to be like, oh, actually, no, it's this that I wanted. Like, you can pivot and it's going to be just as good as what you originally thought.
yeah, and I think it's also just giving yourself permission to change your mind.
Yeah.
Giving yourself permission
Right.
to let life take you wherever it takes you. Permission into letting go.
Yep.
I'm a Capricorn, so like I am very ambitious and I'm very stubborn and hard-headed, but I think inevitably as human beings, like our dreams are going to change and they're going to grow and we're going to have more dreams. I think like I thought when I was younger, this is my dream and that is all.
Right.
Right? But then as I get older, I'm like, oh, I have a lot more dreams. There are a lot more things I want to do.
Right.
I don't have to be set on that one thing that I wanted when I was 20.
Yeah. The maturity and the wisdom that comes with age is being exposed to multiple dreams that you might have. And just like you said, you didn't even know that you could do this. You know, how could that be
Yeah.
your dream? You didn't even know. So now you
Right.
know, and you're living it. Like you're like, oh, I have more knowledge now. And so great.
Right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. It's okay. You
Not
know?
even is it okay, but it's better. It's better than
Yeah.
what you originally thought.
Better than I ever thought it would be,
Love.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, it's tough being an artist
Yes.
these days.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So,
For sure.
yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you for
Amazing.
having this conversation.
Thank you for having me. This was so
Yes.
nice, as always, chatting with you.
Love. And last question, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Spotify, all the things at Drea Rose Music.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, you can subscribe to Traklife Music on YouTube and follow Pearls of Wisdom podcast on Spotify and on Instagram.